I think quite often people don't start from there. They start with what are they good at? What are their abilities? Which is fine, and I think that's part of the equation. But behaviors, natural behaviors, and tendencies and passions are often a better predictor of success than necessarily what you're good at. So, for example, someone could be kind of in an assistant role in a corporation, and they happen to be particularly good at filing paperwork, and so they do that over the course of a year or two in that position, and they stay in that role because they're good at filing paperwork. But then when you talk to them and say, well, what are you really passionate about? Is this a role that you feel that you are uniquely gifted at? Well, they might say no, it's just something I happen to be good at. I'm organized. This is a way that I can keep the office organized, and so I stay in this role. But if you take a step back and say, no, wait a minute, what do I happen to be good at but also passionate about?
Right.
That I think can take you in a completely different direction.
I think you're right, and I think this is a good spot to talk about that too. Is that just because we're good at something, that does not mean that should be what we focus on. So you're absolutely right. Some of us have some abilities, and we tend to end up in areas doing that. One, because it's just kind of easy for us, so we say, sure, I'll do that. And two, others see that ability in us, and so they kind of might steer us there, and they can almost feel like, well, I guess that's just what I'm meant to do. But you have to ask yourself, do you really like doing that? And so whether it's, on a chart of paper and you write down, I'm good at this but don't like it, but I'm good at this and I do like it, it's important to kind of tease that out. So I agree with you. It's very important to not just get stuck in something because we're good at it. So there's this, the hedgehog concept, which initially came from Jim Collins, I believe, one of his books. But essentially, if you look at kind of three circles that are kind of intersecting, they'll intersect somewhere in the middle. And those three circles, one is, what do I have a passion for? Second one is, what am I good at? So it's very important. They have to intersect. And then the third one is, can I make money at it? Like, what can I do that makes money? So there's some things that I'll be really good at, I might be passionate about, but the reality is it's going to be very hard to build a career around that. Then there's other things that I'm passionate about and I'm good at, and there's a way to generate income there, or there's a way to kind of make a living or build a career there, and those are things to focus on. And it's quite empowering when you realize that you have more control over this than you realize. You do not have to just go with what people tell you. You can listen to yourself and start to pursue like those three circles, because that's the place where you're probably going to thrive. And if we can thrive, everything else takes care of itself.
And I think it's really easy to think that the sticking point might be the economic model. How am I going to make money at this? And for a lot of people, that is the hard part. But it's so interesting. I work with a lot of people who are, well into their 20s, 30s, and even older than that, who have never really taken a moment to step back and think about what they're passionate about. Maybe they got into something out of school just because it happened to be what they majored in, or they had parents who were very successful in one industry or another and kind of pushed them in that direction. And the expectation was always that I would become an attorney, so I went to law school and now I'm an attorney, but my heart isn't in it, and it's and these people could be making a fantastic living. This isn't necessarily about money, but it's what is it that your heart is telling you to do. And so when you work in not only what your economic model might be, but then your skills and abilities, and then your passions, and where that all comes together, it can take people in entirely different directions. That attorney could suddenly, have a lawnscaping service, or who knows. It depends on what really motivates you in a way that you may not have ever considered.